We are back with a Deadlock tier list of items. And we're doing the green items, right? The vitality items. I've seen, I think, maybe one creator make an item tier list for Deadlock, and it was like 6 months outdated. So I figured items are one of the most complex parts of the game, and when to counter buy, what items are good, and just, what items are good overall. So I'm going to rank them all. I think there's 53 of these. So not that in-depth of an explanation of each, but where I think they fall into. Starting with extra stamina, I think it's B tier. It does upgrade other things down the road, so it doesn't just get stuck as a tier 1 that you have to sell later. But this tier 1 item, it gives you 1 additional stamina bar, and it gives you 12% stamina recovery. Right? So you're getting your stamina back quicker. Stamina is great for traversing around the map, getting away from fights, playing your life. And it does upgrade to a couple different things later, so I think it's just a solid item in B tier. Healing Right, I actually think is A tier. You see a lot of the pros buying it too. It's one of those things where if you take a ton of damage, instead of buying like an extra regen type item that'll slowly get back to full and you're kind of just poking, playing defensive, you can pop Healing Right. You can even apply it to a teammate that's low. You just got to play safe, right? You don't want to be peeking and maybe get shot so it goes away, because if you take damage when you use it, instantly cancels the item. But if you use it, you're going to heal a ton while it's active, and you go on a box route, you come back almost full health to the next fight, so you don't have to risk anything. It's a very safe item. Melee Lifesteal, I actually think Melee Lifesteal is insane. Melee Lifesteal basically says you get 12% more melee damage, so all your melees do more damage, and your next melee attack heals you. And it's a passive item that comes back like every 8 seconds, but you get 100 health on the melee. And you can melee even a trooper to get the proc of it, or you can melee, a real player. But it's one of those Juggernaut type characters like a Billy or an Abrams, or anyone that's really in the enemy's face that wants extra melee damage, like Drifters constantly in their face, even like Calico. I see Vendors buying it on their cheese like melee build. So just a super, super good item that, makes all the melee characters kind of insane and keeps them alive and keeps their health coming back. Extra regen, I think it's just solid B tier. Pretty straightforward. I mean, the item does exactly what the title says. It gives you +3 health regen and +1 out of combat regen, a second. It does upgrade in heal booster later, so it doesn't get stuck with it. But it's just like a solid item that you're buying on Infernus, all these other characters that, they're running around the map constantly, and that health coming back, is huge. So just a B tier item there. Sprint boots, pretty straightforward item as well, right? Like, it does what, the Smite, League, those type of sprint boot items pretty much say they do. They give you +2 sprint speed. You're running around faster. It also has +2 out of combat regen, and it does have a few upgrade paths, right? It can upgrade to enduring speed or trophy collector or even veil walker. So you have a lot of options with this one with what you want to upgrade into. But I love when items give you options and they don't just get stuck as a tier 1. They have to sell later. Because if you sell an item in Deadlock, you basically lose out. If these tier 1 items cost 800 when you buy them, when you sell them, you only get 400 back. So you lose 50% on the sale. Next one here is bonus health. Or extra health, rather. It gives you 210 bonus health, and it can upgrade to Fortitude or Colossus. So again, it's solid on the characters that want to just be a bullet sponge, like a Moe and Curl or something. So not bad. Rebuttal is definitely C tier. Rebuttal is a little bit trickier of an item where you're buying it against characters that are just spamming melees on you, like a Viscous' Puddle Punch, or most of the time a Billy, right? If you're laning against those two, buy it. It's -2 seconds on your parry cooldown reduction, right? Your parry takes a while to come back. This almost halves the time your parry can come back. It gives you +18 melee resist, so even if they do hit you with the melee, right? This includes like Billy's bash down turns into like melee damage, right? So it makes those even do less damage to you. And then +75% base health. And then based on a successful parry against an enemy hero, you heal yourself for the damage parried and returns that damage to the target, temporarily gain increased damage, right? So anytime you get a successful parry, you basically get a buff. So huge, but the one downside to it is it's very niche, like I said. You're really just buying against like Billy or Viscous, and you have to kind of sell it later. If you're in one of those 40-minute games where all your item slots are maxed out, you're going to sell this, tier 1 800 item that gets stuck as a tier 1. It doesn't upgrade anything to buy like a tier 4 or something. So you do kind of lose out when you have to sell it, but it's solid in the lane phase, like I said. Now we're in our tier 2 items. So these all cost 1,600 and are a little bit more powerful. And starting with Healbane. Healbane is an item that you're buying against characters that are constantly healing themselves. Like, I think one of the best characters to buy this against is like a Victor. It gives you +7% spirit power, right? But it makes it so that you get a passive where your spirit damage applies healing reduction. So if an enemy hero dies under this effect, you receive a large heal yourself. It's 8-second duration. It makes it so that they're minus 35% healing reduction to the enemy, right? So yeah, you heal yourself when you kill them, but the main reason you're buying it is for that heal reduction on the enemy. Debuff reducer is S tier, folks, and I think it might even be here because you can buy it on every character in the game, whereas melee lifesteal you're only buying on melee characters. But so debuff reducer is insane. It helps keep you alive against some of the busted characters like Shiv, who's constantly putting debuffs on you, or even Mirage, right? You can even buy this against like Graves, those characters that are just, or Infernus, for example, that are constantly putting a burn passive debuff on you to reduce, obviously, that debuff. And it upgrades into one of the best tier 4 items in the game in Spellbreaker. So I think debuff reducer is an incredible item, and a lot of people can buy it. Reactive barrier, I think, is A tier, and honestly, probably above Healbane, because Healbane gets stuck as a tier 2, whereas reactive barrier used to get stuck as a tier 2, and now you can upgrade it to Indomitable. Now, the reactive barrier is kind of insane against, you know, your Bebops and stuff. Any character that, basically what it does is for 1600, you get a barrier when you're stunned, chained, immobilized, slept, or silenced. So for example, if I get parried on Billy, this will give me a shield, a 339 shield barrier on myself. So it's kind of insane, right? Anytime you're getting any sort of CC, it gives you a 339 health barrier. Pretty self-explanatory, insane item, and now it has an upgrade path as well. Resto Locket. What's crazy about Resto Locket is this was S tier best item in the game a couple patches ago, and then they kind of made it more fair. Basically, anytime anyone uses an item around you, you get a stack. And for each 4 stacks, I think it is, you get an extra stamina and extra health. 16 health per stack. Now, it used to max out at 20 stacks, meaning once you got 20 stacks of people using abilities around you, you could apply it to get the full 4 stamina and the full amount of healing. Now you need 25 stacks for it to hit that maximum threshold. Now, for example, 25 abilities used around you sounds like a lot, but it never resets unless you use the item. So even if you're not in combat, you'll keep the 10 stacks you gain from when you're in a team fight. And for example, the stacks build up pretty quickly. Like if you're fighting an Apollo, his thrust, every time he clicks the thrust button, which he obviously can 3 times in a row, that's instantly 3 stacks. So now imagine you're fighting him and someone else, you're getting a bunch of stacks. Or if you're in a full 5-on-5, 6-on-6 team fight, you're getting the stacks pretty quickly. So it's still a solid item, but it's no longer the literal best item in the game. Return Fire. Gives you plus 10% bullet resist as just kind of the passive part of it, but it is an active item with a 23-second cooldown, and when you activate it, you automatically fire a bullet towards an enemy attacker who damages you with their abilities or weapon. It's got a 6-second duration. It's like a super niche item. I really don't think this item is very good. I think it's C tier, even behind Rebuttal. Enduring Speed. Enduring Speed is real solid. I'm just debating if I go... Yeah, I'll go... I'm either B plus or A minus. I'm gonna go A minus. It kind of does. It upgrades from sprint boots, right? 1600 item with plus 2 move speed, plus 2 out of combat regen, but it's got this really nice passive that reduces the effect of enemy move speed penalties. So Doorman Bell slowing you down, or it's really good against Kelvin with his frost beam that's like slowing you constantly because it mitigates that move speed penalty, and it does upgrade into Juggernaut, which I think is one of the best tier 4 green items in the game. So super, just all around solid item with Enduring Speed. Bullet Lifesteal. I'm gonna put this one B plus. Bullet Lifesteal is 1600 plus 13% bullet lifesteal, like it says, but plus 90 bonus health as well, and it upgrades into 3 different things later. You can upgrade to tier 3 Fury Trance, or tier 4 Leech, or tier 4 Vampiric Burst. But it's pretty solid on maybe a Graves or an Infernus. One of those characters that's not super tanky, but they're constantly shooting you. Characters that are buying that extra magazine size, so they have a huge clip to be nonstop shooting you all fight, healing themselves, kind of staying alive. So, yeah, I think that's where I put that one. Guardian Ward. I also probably put B tier. Just a super solid item, but you're only really buying it on a support character like a Rem or something. It gives you plus 8% ability range, but it's an active, and you put it on one of your teammates. It gives them a barrier of temporary move speed A barrier and temporary move speed, right? It's 200 shield barrier, and then they get like plus 3-second move speed. So pretty solid item, pretty straightforward. It does upgrade into something, so not bad. Bullet Vest. Dude, Bullet Vest would be A tier if it upgraded into something, but it gets stuck as a tier 2. It's one of those that you can never get bigger. You're in a 45-minute game. You're probably going to have to sell it for a different tier 4 later, and you're basically losing out on 800 souls for it. But it's solid. It gives you extra regen, and it also gives it so that when you're above 65% of your maximum health, you get extra bullet damage and weapon fire rate. So pretty solid. I buy it on Billy a lot because I'm constantly, healing myself with melee life steal, staying above 65%, and getting that extra gun damage, which is good on Billy. So it's a decent item. Heal booster. Probably just right above Resto Locket since they nerf Resto Locket. But this item, Healing Booster, basically is plus 3% regen, plus 1 out of combat regen, and it increases all the effectiveness of your character's healing in your kit. So you can buy it on Mow and Krill because your scoring is healing you and stuff. It upgrades to a tier 4 called Healing Tempo, which is just like a insane version of it. Just middle of the pack B tier. Enchanter's Emblem is like the Enchanter's Emblem is like the same item as Bullet Vest, but for Spirit. So I probably put it a little bit higher because Spirit's usually better in most cases. So it's same exact thing, more regen, but it's same line of text with Spirit. So when you're above 65% of your max health, you get extra Spirit cooldown reduction and Spirit damage. Let's see, where am I putting this item? Spirit Lifesteal, it's similar to Bullet Lifesteal, but the Spirit version. So plus 13% Spirit Lifesteal, bonus health, Spirit Power, and it upgrades into Infuser or Leech. So I mean, I put Enchanter's Album and Bullet Vest next to each other. I'll probably put these two next to each other. Solid item. Spirit Shielding gives you a little bit of out of combat regen. It's 1600. It gets stuck as a tier 2, so there's no upgrade path, which hurts it a little, but it does give you a barrier when you take significant spirit damage in a small time frame. So it can be solid against, like a Great Talent alt and those big heavy spirit burst damage as like a counter item that you're buying against spirit characters. So I'll put it right here. Weapon shielding. Weapon shielding is like the weapon version of it, right? 2.5 out of combat regen, gain a barrier, and take significant weapon damage in a small time frame. So you could buy this against like Venator and characters like that. So we'll just keep it next to its counterpart up here. Well, I think it's slightly worse. Okay, now we're in the tier 3s. We're in the tier 3s, and these tier 3 counter items are a little bit better than their tier 2 counterparts. So with Bullet Resilience, they just buffed it. They just gave it plus 3 out of combat regen, and it's giving you plus 30% bullet resist. So against Haze, against Viper, against Ivy, against these characters that are just shredding you with their bullets, it gives you 50%. When below 50% health, you gain additional bullet resist plus that 30% initial bullet resist. So it's stuck as a tier 3. You can't upgrade it, but when you're ahead and you just want to make sure you stay alive, because when you die when you're ahead, you have like the longest respawn time. You're buying this against those bullet characters. It's insane. So just always hit tab and see if the enemy team's building mostly bullet, and then buy this item to stay alive, especially if you're ahead. Counterspell is S tier. I'm gonna put it in between these two. But it's just really nice, right? You can counterspell the Lash Alt. You can counterspell the Great Talent Alt. You can counterspell anything that you just know is coming. There's no way to dodge it, and you hit your parry, and it just gives you, it completely cancels it. So it's an insane item that they nerfed a little bit. I think they just made its passive stats a little bit worse, but it's still obviously insane, right? It just gives you less like bonus health now, but you're still getting plus 8% spirit power, and it just protects you in a lot of scenarios. So it's a super solid item. Dispel Magic. Dispel Magic is S tier. It doesn't upgrade anything, but it just cleanses, right? It just completely cleanses a lot of those debuffs the moment you hit it. So similar to Debuff Reducer, but it's a tier 3. It gives you 10 spirit resist, and then when you activate it, it's a long-ass cooldown. It's 40 seconds. When you activate it, purges all non-ultimate negative effects currently applied to you. If the effects are removed, you heal yourself and gain movement speed. So you get 250 health when you cleanse something. Could be Graves ticking you away. Could be Infernus ticking you, right? Shiv, those characters, you're just cleansing their bleed and healing yourself afterwards. Fortitude. I mean, I'll put it right here. It's a solid ass item. It heals you a ton. It upgrades from extra health. And I'm buying it on like a. You don't want to back a ton, right? So it prevents you from having to go back to spawn to heal up. Because after not taking damage for a period, you just start getting this insane heal regen. And then when you're above 75% health, you gain bonus move speed. So I buy it on Mo and Krill most games. Decent item. I have to think a little bit about this one. Fury Trance. I rarely buy this, to be honest with you guys. It's bullet lifesteal, bonus health, and then you activate it to gain fire rate, spirit resist. But it silences you and disables your stamina usage and regen. So it upgrades from bullet lifesteal, but you can also just upgrade bullet lifesteal to like leech, which I think is better. So I never really buy this. Maybe I'm wrong because I barely buy it, but I'm gonna put it C tier. And let me know if there's more uses for this item. I always kind of get hesitant because of the drawback attached to it. So maybe that's just me. Healing Nova upgrades from Healing Right. It gives you ability range, spirit power, but it heals yourself and nearby allies, right? So it gives you a ton. It's a total of 325 HP regen. So if you are buying Healing Right, you don't want to just sell the Healing Right for something else, you can always upgrade to this, but I don't think it's anything insane. Probably B-. Now we're getting there. This is one of my favorite items. Life Strike, right? It upgrades from melee lifesteal, gives you more melee damage at 16%, 125 bonus health, and then your melee attacks movement slow, so slowing them down, meaning they're still within your melee range, hard for them to get away, and heals you a percentage of the melee damage you dealt plus a fixed amount. It's a minus 60% move speed, slow to them, and you're getting 100 health on each melee hit, so it's kind of crazy. I think this item is absolutely nuts. I'm probably just putting it S tier with the smaller version. So yeah, I mean, this is just a really good upgrade path for the characters that need it. Majestic Leap. I don't buy this item too often, so maybe I'm wrong with it. But basically, you launch yourself into the air and you get yourself a barrier, right? 200 health barrier. And then while you're in there, you can activate again to drop faster. So you can like click the button again and just drop straight to the ground almost, which is kind of fun. I feel like maybe B tier above Resto Locket because Resto Locket just isn't that great anymore. Yeah, it seems fine. Metal Skin is pretty insane. Metal Skin, you activate it and you're basically just like immune to bullet damage when you pop it. So if they have a haze that's super fed, right, you pop this right when they go to ult you, so you don't just get melted and die. Or you can use it against like a Viper that's sliding around the map. Right, so not a bad item for sure. It's definitely a counter item when you're ahead against those melee, against those bullet characters rather, not melee. I mean that. Okay, healing, Rescue Beam. Rescue Beam is, I think, one of the best support items in the entire game. It gives you, it upgrades from Healing Right. It gives you sprint speed, ability range, and then heals a target. You apply it on your teammate. You heal yourself for a percentage of max health. You heal yourself for a percentage of the max health, and then once while healing, you can pull the target towards you. And it can be self-cast, right? So a lot of times you're just saving somebody. It's kind of funny. You almost feel like you're like yanking them by their shirt back to you. So you can pop it on like your Billy that's diving in. Now he's getting close to die. You just pull him straight back. It almost guarantees like saves your teammate's life every time. I think this item is nuts. I'm gonna go S tier, dude. I think this item is insane. The amount of times it gets saved because my page bought it and I'm getting a little too aggro. I'm trying to finish someone off. I'm getting close to dying. They're bringing in backups and boom, they just pull me out and save my life. It's a ridiculous item. I love this item. Okay, Spirit Resilience is just up here with Bullet Resilience. Same thing, same exact stats with the Spirit version, right? So 30% Spirit reduction, and then when you're below 50% health, you get additional Spirit reduction. So you just tab halfway through the game. You hit tab, especially if you're ahead. You see that there's 4 people on the enemy team building majority Spirit. You buy this item every time. It's a very bought counter item. Okay, Stamina Mastery. This item's really good. You see a lot of the pros buying it because they can utilize their stamina and their parkour better than anyone. It's plus 2 stamina, plus 18% stamina recovery rather than the plus 12 because it upgrades from extra stamina. It gives you plus 23% air jump dash distance. So if you're always hitting your air jumps, you're going to dash further. And allows an additional use of air jump or air dash before landing. So again, this item is the most insane on the movement characters like Celeste. I think this item is very, very good. I'm putting this item top of A tier right here. Like A+. Dude, Trophy Collector. They just made it from a tier 3 to a tier 2. So it should have been in the tier 2 section. But I'm like, They just buffed it and then they immediately nerfed it a little bit. And I'm going to put it at the bottom of B minus, even below Resto Locket. Because I tested this item and I've seen some lobbies where a lot of people are buying it. But even the pros from the last night shift 2 days ago weren't buying it. And I think it's probably because the developers added a minus 15% weapon damage versus NPCs. Now, half the people that play the game buy monster rounds because it gives you 25% weapon damage versus NPCs. So the fact that like everyone is buying a tier 1 item because of how much it allows you to farm and get ahead, and this kind of doing the opposite of the minus 15% against NPCs, it's like going to slow you down, right? Now, if you're like smurfing or something, then buy it every time, right? If you just know you're better than the whole lobby and are getting a bunch of kills, then buy it. Because the way it works is every time you get an assist or kill, you get like a stack, and it maxes at 16 stacks. Even if you die, your stacks don't reset. But like if it's a slow game, which I feel like a lot of high elo games are, the Eternus games, the pro games, nobody's finishing the game with like 20 kills unless it's like a 45, 50, 60 minute game. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you're, again, the best player in the lobby, and you can tell early in the lane phase, if you get the like 3 kills in the first 3 minutes of lane, then yeah, buy it. Because you might just get fed. You might get that 16 stacks quickly. Because again, those stacks, when you get them, they give you extra spirit ability range. They give you bonus soul regeneration, making you more rich. It's like 18 soul per minute, and then like plus 0.8 ability range for each stack. And I think move speed too, like 0.2 move speed. So like, it's just one of those items where if you know you're going to be super fed, if you're a Calico maybe that can constantly be moving around the map, being in every fight from the cat form, then buy it. But if not, maybe don't buy it. So yeah, Veilwalker. I think Veilwalker just got buffed. It's one of the most unique items in the entire game. Because what Veilwalker does is, yeah, there's a bunch of passive things on it, like sprint speed, out of combat regen, bonus health, and a little bit of spear power. But it's got this passive thing where when you're walking through any of the veils, a veil being like the little mist wall that you can hide behind, you get stealth and heal and increased move speed. So you literally become invisible. You get 3.5% move speed when you're invisible, and you get 85 heal for just going through those veils. So it's kind of nuts on some characters. It's kind of tough for me to put somewhere. I'm going to go... it's either B plus or A minus. I'm going to go B plus on it. I'm going to go B plus on it and put it right here. And it does upgrade too. So Veilwalker upgrades from sprint boots. It does get stuck as a tier 3 after you upgrade it. But the fact that like you can build it for something else, I feel like gives it a little bit of brownie points. Warpstone is pretty nuts, guys. Warpstone is pretty nuts. I think it's bottom of S tier. You're buying it on Moe and Krill to just instantly grab them and ult them to get closer. You can buy it on Haze, and while you're Haze ulting, you can pop it, and you stay Haze ulting, but now you're in front of them because they just ran away, and now you get them back in your Haze ult. You can buy it on Pocket. It's just one of those items that helps keep you alive, can help get you to initiate the fight if you need to be a character that needs to be close to ult, like a Dynamo. So it's a really solid item on a lot of characters. And in addition, you gain bullet resist just because why not? Okay, now we're finally in the tier 4 items. I know this artwork looks different. This is Cheat Death. Cheat Death, currently the updated art is like a couple playing cards, right? Cheat Death, guys, I think is the worst green item in the whole game. It's our only D tier item in the whole thing. The only character I ever see buy this and sometimes get value is the Cheese Doorman. Right? Like, even the pro Doorman players, like low main and stuff, they're not buying this. But you'll get a guy that's like an Archon or something, and they'll buy this item. They're playing Doorman, just trying to go for the Kidnap build. And the reason they're buying this is because basically what happens is you get some bonus health, some bullet resist, but if you would take lethal damage, instead of dying, you become temporarily death immune. You become like grayed out almost. And you remove all the debuffs on yourself, but while you're death immune, you have reduced damage and have reduced healing. But it's a 90-second cooldown on it. And you're kind of just using on Doorman in those scenarios for those kidnapped Doorman builds, because if they were to die, if Doorman dies, he has his door up, his portal, and he's playing and he dies, he can just basically run through his door, run through his portal, and then close the portal. So then when the Cheat Death runs out, right, you're at 1 health, it puts you back to like 1 HP. You're not just going to die instantly because you've already teleported across the map. So it's like, it's a Doorman item that's kind of cheesy. So yeah. Okay, they just buffed Colossus. It used to give you just a base 300 health. Now, think about the characters that want this, is the tanky characters. So now, instead of just doing 300 health, it gives you plus 25% base health. Which, if you think about a long game where you're at 4,000 health, Instead of just getting, 4,300 when you buy this, you're getting plus 25%, right? So which is 1,000. You're now getting 1,000 health rather than 300. So it also gives you, so that's a good buff. It also gives you 15% weapon damage, and it's an active. So that's the passive half of it. The active half, when you activate this item, you grow larger. Your character literally gets bigger, like the name Colossus. You gain bullet resist, spear resist, and you gain melee damage. This item is best on Billy. And then nearby enemies suffer from slow and have reduced dash speed. But the main reason you're doing it is because when you're gaining large, you have all those resiliences, those resistances, and you get melee damage. So it just makes you tankier and then allows you to just keep doing what you want to do on those melee characters like Abrams. It's really good on it. It's really good on Billy. So I think Colossus is definitely A tier. I'm going to put it there. Okay. Where are we at? Okay, Divine Barrier. Another tier 4 item. It upgrades from Guardian Ward. So it's like the super version of Guardian Ward where it's a 10% ability range. It's an active with a 45-second cooldown and it removes all non-stun debuffs from the target and provides them with the barrier. A 600 health barrier, mind you. So it almost like it gives them damn near invincibility for a little bit and they get move speed. But 600 health barrier is kind of insane. It's a great item. If you're a support character, you're buying this and putting it on your homie to keep them alive. Definitely a solid item. Diviners, Kevlar. Now, I'm a little bit hesitant on this item because you would think you'd want to like Mow and Krill or something. It's a tier 4. It doesn't upgrade from anything else. It's kind of its own, just unique tier 4 with ability duration, plus 15% ability duration. And it's a passive. Upon casting your ultimate, you get a barrier and temporary spirit power. It gives you 1,000 health barrier. But even on a lot of the Mow and Krill, like this in my head makes the most sense on like Mow and Krill, where you're just standing still, ulting somebody, and you want that barrier. Like, I don't even see a lot of Mow and Krill alts, like, builds buying this. So I don't know. I feel like it's a little mid. Because, again, you only get it when you pop your ult. So I'm going to put it just top of C tier above Rebuttal. Where do we want... So, again, this next item, Healing Tempo, it upgrades from Heal Booster, which, also upgrades from Extra Regen. And it's just a super version of Healing Booster. So it's 25% healing effectiveness, 10% spirit resist, 6% heal regen, plus 4 out of combat regen. And when you're applying heal to yourself or an ally grants you, you get bonus fire rate and bonus move speed. I buy it on Mow and Krill. It's good on those characters that have healing built into their kit and they're buying a bunch of healing items. I think it's just like B+ though. We'll put it there. Infuser. It's pretty good on it upgrades from Spirit Lifesteal. So actually it's pretty good on like a Graves or someone like that. Gives you Spirit Lifesteal, Spirit Resist, bonus health, and then when you activate it because it's inactive, you get a bunch of Spirit Lifesteal and Spirit Power. Plus 70% Spirit Lifesteal and 30 Spirit Power. It lasts for 6 seconds. It does have a long cooldown of 30 seconds though. So like I said, I think it's good on Graves. You're just constantly shooting them with your big magazine size. You activate it and you're just draining their health constantly, sucking the life out of them. I'm gonna put this top of B tier. I'm like losing my voice. There's so many items. Okay, Inhibitor. This is one that you can buy it sometimes on like a Billy. It's one of those items that you're not buying almost every game. It's one of those where it's like a long game. You need like as many tier 4s as possible. It gives plus 10% weapon damage, plus 150% bonus health, and then it's also basically makes your bullets build up to reduce the target's outgoing damage and apply healing reduction. I like to buy it on Billy because when you melee, you reload, so you have like infinite magazine size, or on characters with a big magazine size. And the main key part of this item is you're reducing the target's outgoing damage and applying healing reduction. So it's very good against, like a Victor, a character that's healing themselves constantly, really hard to kill type character. So Inhibitor is solid. I'm going to put it top of B, right behind Infuser. Juggernaut, I think, is sick, guys. This item is sick. I'm going to put it right here. It upgrades from Enduring Speed, which is like an item you can buy almost every single game on a lot of characters. Fits into a lot of builds. And Juggernaut's a super version, right? So it's a plus 50% slow resist. So again, good against the Calvins, the Dormans, characters that are applying slows to you. Gives you move speed, melee resist, health regen, plus 8%, plus 8 health regen. And then enemies that shoot you have their fire rate slowed. So again, it's also good against like Ivy. It's good against Viper. Characters that have a crazy fire rate are building fire rate. Now their fire rate's slowed by 36% every time they shoot you. So I think Juggernaut is super, super, super solid. One of the best tier 4s in the game. Leech, I think, is an A- type item. It does upgrade from either Spirit or Bullet Lifesteal, and it's kind of the super version of those. 25% Spirit and Bullet Lifesteal, plus 160 health, plus 12 weapon damage, plus 12 Spirit power. Good on those characters that have a big magazine size. I am not crazy about Phantom Strike. It's plus 15% weapon damage and 8% spirit power, and then it's an active with a long cooldown. It's like 35-second cooldown, but it makes you teleport to an enemy and pull them to the ground, dealing some damage and move speed reduction to them. But it does disarm them, which is nice. But it's nice because it pulls them to you. So if you're a character that wants the enemy like right in your face because you have what's like Torment Pulse or something like that, it can be okay. But I'm not crazy about Phantom Strike. Plated armor, on the other hand, I'm a little bit crazy about. I love plated armor. I'm gonna put plated armor here. It's a pretty good counter item against weapon damage characters. It gives you a decent amount of bonus health, 130, and then you gain a chance to deflect incoming bullets. So with every incoming bullet, you have a chance to deflect it, preventing all weapon damage, or prevent all on-hit effects from bullets. So it gives you 30% deflection percent, and then on-hit prevention is 50%. So it's just super solid against characters that are shooting you a ton. To keep you alive is like a kind of a counter item that you buy if you're super ahead, especially against like weapon damage characters. Now we're getting towards the end. Siphon Bullets. Now Siphon Bullets is 15% weapon damage, 10% bullet resist, and then your bullets temporarily steal max HP from enemies. Enemies do regain their stolen health when the debuff expires, but it's 2.5% max HP steal with your bullets, basically, right? So you're buying against if you're playing against a bunch of tanky characters, if somehow the enemy team has like Abrams, McGinnis, Bebop, Victor, just really high health characters, Billy, buy this. It's like a counter item that is good against characters with a lot of max HP when you're shooting them a ton. So solid item, probably middle of B tier here. Spellbreaker is nuts. Dude, I think Spellbreaker probably bottom S. It upgrades from debuff reducer here. So it helps like reduce the debuffs, right? 18% spirit resist, 25% debuff for this, and the next instance of high spirit damage you would take is significantly reduced. So you know the Grey Town alts, those things are significantly reduced. Unstoppable. I think it's towards the top of A tier. It's an active item. It gives you debuff resist and bonus health. It also can upgrade from debuff reducer, which is solid. But when you activate it, it temporarily suppresses the negative status effects on you, and you become immune to like all the CC, like stun, sleep, root, disarm. But it can't be used while you're stunned or slept. That's kind of what holds it back a little bit. You can't get stunned or slept and then pop it like a Dispel Magic. You have to kind of anticipate that stuff and pop it beforehand. But it's good on like Billy and tanky characters that want the aggro, that want those things put on them. You pop it going into the fight. Vampiric. Vampiric is solid. I see. It upgrades from Bullet Lifesteal, right? So a similar effect, but it is an active. Bullet Lifesteal passive. This is an active where it gives you 13% Bullet Lifesteal, 10% Bullet Resist, and 100 bullets health is like the passive. And then when you activate it, it's got a long cooldown of 30 seconds, but it grants you Lifesteal, fire rate, and ammo. And then the added ammo is not limited by your max like magazine size. So solid item. It only lasts for 4.5 seconds, so it doesn't last too long, so I think it's like solid, just B tier. Witchmail is kind of a counter item. I think with which can't even speak, dude. So Witchmail gives you 20% spear resist and 14% spear power. And then it's a passive with a 1 second where taking heavy hits of spirit damage from enemy reduces a random ability cooldown of yours. So it's a 4-second cooldown reduction per hit though. And you have to take at least 75 damage for that threshold to kind of proc. I mean, like I said, you're just buying against kind of spirit characters that are doing heavy hits to you. Now, Indomitable. Dude, I'm super high on Indomitable. I'll just put it top of A tier because Dispel Magic is kind of like a cheaper version of it. But Indomitable is just a guarantee counter to like anything. Doorman ult, Indomitable procs, you're safe. If you get parried, it can use your thing, but it just like basic counters. Anytime you would be like stunned or CC'd, it instantly counters and like cleanses it. It's the newest item in the game. Couple passive things of like 8% bullet resist and spear resist. But it's a long cooldown. It's a 55-second cooldown. That's the one thing that kind of hinders it. But basically, the next time you'd be stunned, chained, immobilized, slept, silenced, it's automatically cleansed. And when this happens, you get a crazy barrier. It's a 339 health barrier, and your ability cooldowns get reduced by 20 seconds. So I buy it basically every game on Billy. But a lot of characters, you can buy it to like counter. Like there's Doorman. Like it counters a Doorman ult. So like a Doorman now has to try to like spend 1600 on an active, like a slowing hex or something, to like almost bait out the Indomitable if the enemy has it, and then they can like Doorman ult you. But a lot of people aren't even doing that because they don't want to buy an item just to counter, you know, a different item to then get off the, like, so it can counter Mow and Crawl, all the things that would like kill you. It just like cleanses and counters. So Indomitable is sick, one of the coolest items in the game, and I think it's good in almost every single matchup because every character has like CC in their kit, and it just cleanses and counters it. So yeah, this is my green item vitality item tier list. Let me know what you think. There's 53 of these. Pretty complex tier list, but hopefully I did my best making it. Let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with. I obviously have much more experience buying some of these items rather than others. I've tried all of them, but some are like items I buy every game, and some are like very niche and require a certain build. So hopefully you guys agree a little bit with some of my choices. I'll see you guys with the gun item tier list next.